You're watching The Legal Breakdown. So, Glenn, Donald Trump's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, has withdrawn from representing Trump in two high profile cases. That's the Manhattan DA case that's coming up and the E. Jean Carroll defamation case that's imminent right now. Any idea as to why this is happening?
Brian, all I can tell you is something broke bad because one thing you almost never see, it is a shakeup on a legal team on the eve of jury selection in a big high profile case. So at a minimum, there was some kind of an irreconcilable difference between Donald Trump, the client, and Joey, forget about it, Tacopina, the
Yeah.
attorney. His middle name is not really forget about it. I put that in there. Something broke bad. What it is, I don't know. We can sort of read between the lines, and we've seen some reporting about how Donald Trump wants to testify, and Tacopina didn't want him to testify. Remember, he didn't testify in the first E. Jean Carroll case, and Donald Trump went down on flames. And, Joey Tacopina's track record with Donald Trump is not that great because he lost an enormous judgment, $5 million that Donald Trump ultimately will have to pay to E. Jean Carroll for defamation.
Well, so yeah, that was my next question. Is it unusual for this kind of a shakeup to happen so quickly? Like I know that we hear of attorneys of there being high turnover in these cases, especially as it relates to Donald Trump, but just in general, even just days before these high profile cases, is this something that we see often?
No, really unusual. If things are going to break bad, usually they break bad long before a scheduled trial date. Now, the other thing I thought of the minute I saw this reporting is Donald Trump's other lawyers might say, oh my goodness, Judge, we need a continuance. We need more time. We need
Right.
delay. We need to kick this can down the road, which we all know is pretty much keeping with Donald Trump's playbook in every legal proceeding he has. I haven't yet heard, because this is brand new reporting, whether they're trying to win a continuance of the jury selection in the E. Jean Carroll case, but that is one of the possible motivators behind this legal shakeup. I don't think the judge is going to stand for it, though. And because there are other attorneys that remain on Donald Trump's defense team, the judge will rightly say, you've still got lawyers at the table. Let's move on to jury selection.
Now, as you mentioned, the E. Jean Carroll case is basically this ongoing suit where E. Jean Carroll was awarded initially that $5 million after the judge found that Trump defamed her. And then he kept repeating the same exact defamatory claims. So, from a defense attorney's perspective, is the certainty that Trump is going to continue losing and paying these ever increasing sums, is that a reasonable rationale for Tacopina to withdraw himself?
If ever you wanted to place a safe bet, Brian,
Yeah.
bet on Donald Trump losing again and bet on the money judgment being well in excess of $5 million, which was the last money judgment. Because, as you say, he went out right after he lost that case and he defamed E. Jean Carroll all over again, telling the same lies that just resulted in a jury awarding $5 million. We could see 10, 15, we could see $50 million awarded by this next jury because, look, nobody will ever accuse Donald Trump of learning from his mistakes.
Well, nobody except Susan Collins, but other than that, in the event that Donald Trump does keep losing, is it a hit to Tacopina's reputation to represent somebody and then to keep losing these defamation cases? I mean, look, Donald Trump will to your exact point, he'll lose again, and then he'll very likely go out and say the same exact thing about E. Jean Carroll and set up himself for another loss in a subsequent trial. So, do those repeated losses hurt Tacopina's reputation?
I have never been and will never be a civil litigator. I was a criminal prosecutor my entire career, but I don't believe it's career enhancing to have represented a big fish client like Donald Trump lose a major case. And then that doesn't feel like a winning entry on one's resume. But, I'm sure there will still be people lining up to want to hire Joey Tacopina.
Of course. Will Tacopina's departure here hurt Trump? Like, politics aside, was Joe Tacopina a skilled attorney? Because he did have high profile clients ranging from Sean Hannity to ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't fairly characterize Joe Tacopina's talents and skills in court. I would really need to be in court watching them day after day after day. Part of my duties as chief of the homicide section at the Washington, D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office were to go and observe all of my 30 homicide prosecutors every chance I got so I could give them feedback. And I had an informed opinion about their work in court. I don't have that. What I have seen Tacopina do is give any number of media interviews where he seemed to hurt Donald Trump as much as he helped him. And I just don't think that's a winning formula for a defense attorney. So, but as I say, I have a feeling people will still hire Joey Tacopina. And, you know, given that Donald Trump lost the first case and then shot himself in the foot by going out and defaming E. Jean Carroll a second time, I don't think the most skilled litigator could get Donald Trump off, you know, during the second trial that E. Jean Carroll is pursuing against him.
Right. Okay, let's finish off with this. We've heard a lot of reporting about Donald Trump not paying his attorneys. Is that a normal phenomenon that you've heard with high-profile clients and their defense attorneys? And what is the recourse if one of those clients opts not to pay?
Yeah, great questions. First of all, you know, clients generally pay their bills. And in the setting of a civil case, civil litigation, we'll talk about a criminal case in a minute. But if an attorney is not getting paid, that attorney will quit the case, will move to withdraw. And then, as we know, the attorney can sue the client. Why do we know that? Well, Rudy Giuliani is being sued by his lawyers that he failed to pay, I think well in excess of $1 million. So unfortunately, it's not all that unusual for attorneys to try to collect what is rightly theirs or due to them from their client. But, you know, things are slightly different in the context of a criminal case, because I've had this happen, Brian. I've had lawyers who represented a criminal defendant on the eve of trial try to say, we're moving to withdraw, either because we have irreconcilable differences with our client or because our client hasn't paid our legal fees. Here's the thing. That doesn't work in the context of a criminal case. Why? Because judges generally can sniff out that delay tactic, and the judges are well within their discretion to order the attorney to remain on the case. You can sue your client later if that's what this is really about. Oh, and if you have irreconcilable differences, you can both come to the bench right now, ex parte. In other words, I, as the prosecutor, don't get to come up and listen to what the client and the attorney are arguing about. But if the judge senses this is a delay tactic, judges can and often do order the defense attorney to remain counsel of record, and we're going to trial as previously scheduled.
Okay. Well, obviously a lot to stay on top of, especially as it relates to what happens with Donald Trump's legal team as he moves forward in these cases. So for anybody watching, if you want to stay on top of these cases and the ever-unfolding drama regarding Trump's legal team, make sure to subscribe. The links are right here on the screen. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
And I'm Glenn Kirshner.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown.
Feel any better? I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure him.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, when is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I was so dang weird going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, make bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Evac.
She's right in front.
We're facing a heavy sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark aircraft. General, General, you need to evac immediately. Evac everything. National security evacuation. Stand down. Check it out. The mission celebration. The amateurs suicide mission.